Daz Dee TV.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of Daz Dee TV. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about double leg training versus single leg training. We're going to be talking about the next APA Level 2 Strength and Conditioning qualification, and we're going to be briefly mentioning fitness testing. So the inspiration for this episode was from a number of conversations that I've had with some of my senior coaches in my S&C team, who have been letting me know that they have been questioning the use of heavy bilateral training exercises like squats and deadlifts in their training programs recently, and have been saying, hey Daz, you know what, I feel like now I'm using more single leg exercises for my primary strength training, things like split squats and even heavy step ups, because I'm seeing that they're going to have a greater transfer onto the tennis court with the athletes I'm working with. So I wanted to take a moment to reflect on this, to think about what's important to me, and I've written a blog all about it. And in summary, the blog will state that I personally still think that you need to be training both double leg and single leg exercises, but go and check it out and tell me what you think. But there was a couple of things that I didn't say in the blog that on reflection I wanted to just highlight and perhaps explain a bit better. The first thing was that when I listened to Mike Boyle, who is probably most famous for going on record and saying, hey, we don't do heavy bilateral squats anymore, I think the thing that got lost in translation is that he was working at that point in time with a very specific athletic population. He was working with professional ice hockey players, and his rationale for eliminating back squats was that at that time when he was working with those I think it was Boston ice hockey players, he was finding that as many as 20% of the professional team at any point in time were unable to do back squatting due to back pain. Now, what I haven't got him saying on record, and I was listening very carefully on the podcast, is I didn't hear him say that back squatting was causing the lower back pain. But what I heard him say is that they weren't able to squat because of back pain. So I'm not sure that we can go ahead and make that conclusion that heavy back squatting causes back pain. I think it's fair to say that you need an exceptional amount of torso rigidity, particularly around the trunk area and the lower back, to be able to effectively transfer the forces coming from the ground through the big muscles of the quadriceps and the glutes and the hamstring, and then obviously into the torso and up to the bar, 100%. But whether or not we can make that link, that the reason that we shouldn't do back squatting is because it will hurt our back, I'm not so sure. So I think got to be careful, look at the narrative, look at the story, look at the reason why he eliminated it. A lot of his athletes just weren't able to do it, so that led him to look at other ways that he was able to overload their legs effectively. And from what I understand, in his training programs, he still will use periodic use of heavy trap bar deadlifts where it's appropriate, and when he knows that his athletes are going to have to prep for a training system or a training environment where they will be asked to do bilateral heavy lifts. But I think for the most part, my understanding is that he prefers to work the pattern of bilateral training using something like a dumbbell goblet squat. And once they can get to about 50% of their body mass for 10 reps, so for someone like me, 80 kilograms, I can lift 40 kilograms in a dumbbell for 10 reps, he's satisfied that they're strong enough to then transfer that training into more specific forms of unilateral single leg training, and you'll be able to see all the progressions that I talk about in the blog. So I just wanted to make that point, and I think I would encourage you to go and do your own research as well. The other thing that I wanted to make sure that perhaps I tried to explain a bit better was this understanding of why there is this bilateral strength deficit. And what that means is that in theory I should be able to lift, if I can lift, let's say 200 kilograms on a back squat, then in theory I should be able to lift 100 kilograms on each leg if I was going to do a unilateral version of the back squat. So if I was going to do a split squat, I could do 100 and I could do 100. But what we actually find is that the body is capable of lifting more than 100 kilograms on each leg individually. So it might be something, let's say, like 110, 120 kilograms, meaning that the total weight that you lift across both legs individually is higher than what you can lift on two legs in a back squat. And I was trying to think, how do we explain that? But the reality is this, that when you're doing closed chain kinetic exercises like a back squat or even a press up, you're not lifting your entire mass up and down in addition to the external load that you've got on your back. You're typically lifting about 70% of your mass, i.e. what's above your waist, is going to be lifted up and down. And that's important to know that. So typically, if I was, for easy maths, a 100 kilogram athlete, then every time that I'm squatting, I've got about 70 kilograms of mass that I am lifting up and down against gravity. All right? And what we know is, in theory, provided you've got roughly equal weight transfer, you're going to have about 50% of that 70 kilograms distributed between each leg. So 35 kilograms. In addition to the external load that you've got on your back, which would be accounting for what we call the total system mass, okay? When you do single leg training, what we know is that if you shift all of your weight onto one leg, your body is effectively now carrying 84% of your body's system mass through one leg. So it goes from 70 up to 84. And obviously what's crucial to this equation is that not only is it 84% of your entire mass above your waist that you're now carrying on one leg, but it's 100% of that force. It's not obviously now equally distributed between two legs. So if you took 84% of 100 kilograms, I now have 84 kilograms. And all of that entire 84 kilograms is on that one leg. So rather than it being 35, it's now 84. So you can see that the potential stress on one leg is much higher. And that's why I think we have this observation of the bilateral strength deficit, is that there's a huge force capacity that you have to be able to carry through that one leg, owing to the fact that you've shifted your weight entirely onto the one leg. So I just wanted to explain that. Hopefully that makes more sense. And it's something that I didn't think I did a good enough job of explaining the research in the blog. So go away, do your own research, and tell me what you think about the double leg versus the single leg training conundrum. Personally, as you'll see in the blog, my summary is I think you need to do both. And I do agree that there probably is a point of no return where you don't need to continue getting stronger and stronger on two legs, because obviously the risk rewards, you're going to be putting higher stresses through your lumbar region and through your trunk. So I do think that there warrants a change up. But for most part, with the majority of athletes that I work with who are developmental or intermediate, let's say, they've still got plenty of gains that they can make in getting stronger on both two legs and one leg. And in the most part, I will program them into one session. And if I'm doing a heavy double leg, let's say knee dominant exercise, I'll try to do a lighter hip dominant single leg exercise, and then I'll switch them in the next part of the training cycle in that week. So that's enough about that. The other thing I just wanted to sort of highlight to you, with Christmas coming up, I have got an early bird £100 discount off the next level 2 strength and conditioning qualification. We're going to be running it in, let me check, January the 27th and the 28th is the first date. If you can book before the end of December, it's going to be £370 rather than £470. If you go on the website, you'll be able to get all of the details about that qualification. But it's a fantastic introduction to strength conditioning for sports coaches, for personal trainers, and for parents, anyone who is interested in doing strength conditioning. And it's a qualification, so you can actually go out and then train athletes in your own environment. And then the other thing is I've got the next speed, agility and quickness training workshop, which again is going to be on the 17th of February. That's £40 and it's for 4 hours. And if you're a tennis coach, you get 4 license points. So I just wanted to give you a quick shout out about those before I forget. And the final thing that I just wanted to let you know about is the fitness testing that we're doing at APA. Look out for some more blogs, because I've literally been spending the last week or two listening back to all of the Pacey Performance podcasts and checking in with some of my favorite practitioners and just reflecting on what it is that I think is important in terms of testing parameters that are actually going to be able to be applied into the training. I'm very mindful that I don't just want to take numbers for the sake of taking numbers if I'm not going to be able to use that information in an actionable way and give instant feedback to my athlete. So I was quite interested to listen to Alex Natera and obviously Dan Baker and a few others like Jeremy Shepherd talk about their power profiling and how they've made it much more simple. So I'm going to be reviewing how we profile our athletes from a force and velocity standpoint. And I've also been thinking about the frequency of the fitness testing that I'm doing. At the moment we're doing it quarterly, so we're doing 4 tests a year. September, December, and then we have another one in Easter in April, and then another one in June, July. But I'm thinking about now going from quarterly to maybe every 4 months. So we're going to be doing it maybe at the beginning of the September term, the beginning of the January term, and then after Easter, the beginning of the summer term. So again, I'll give you some updates on my rationale for the benefits of doing it more or less frequently, and also look out for the information on some of the profiling that we're going to be doing. So have a fantastic Christmas and a happy New Year.
Daz Dee